Hello YouTube, another video. We're back again. So obviously means I'm heading off fishing, but don't know where I'm going yet. Obviously it's staying around the North Kent coast, so I'm staying local. But I'm torn. I don't know what to do. I think there are rays starting to show now, but I don't know if they're in numbers and showing plentiful in the day. And if I was going to target them, I'll be going to Herne Bay, and I wanted to switch it up a little bit and not keep doing the same video. So I'm torn between that, going back to Herne Bay and trying for a ray, or going Whitstable, Tankerton, somewhere there, and just seeing what's about there. So I think what I'm going to do is head on up there, have a look at the mark, and just see what I feel when I get there, and go from there. It'll probably be the wrong place, whatever one I pick, but we're going to give it a go. Right, so the first venue I have stopped at, and it's going to be the venue I fish, is Tankerton Slopes. There we are, as you can see, a little information board there. Site of special scientific interest. That's these slopes along here, there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the steps that are just there, and I am going to fish down there in one of these bays. I'm going to set my shelter up because it's quite breezy. I wonder if there's some flounder here or something, I don't know, but let's give it a go and see. Well, I vowed not to fish with it again until I spooled it back up, but I have got the Sonic. I bought it as a spare. There's my Cinetic in the car. I'm not expecting anything large here, and I'm going to fish 2 rigs for smaller baits, so I can fish that one in quite close for flounders, and there's enough braid on that for doing that, and it's just a little bit more of a sensitive tip, make it fishing for them a little bit easier. Right, let's get down there. Right, so I've just chucked the shelter up. It takes 3 minutes. It's going to keep the wind off me and allow recording to be a little bit easier. And I've just sat down for 2 minutes, and I'm going to set the rods up. So I've got a nice little bay to myself. There we are, nice little bay to myself, like that. Got a few little black-headed gulls sitting around in the sea in front of me. I'm going to take it today that they are my good luck charm. That's why I've set up here. So I'm going to set my rods up, and I'm going to fish 2 scratching rigs for smaller species, see what's about. Well, finally I've put a little bit of time into this rig wallet. It's getting there. There's a few crappy rigs still in here, but I've done 2/3 of it. So I'm just going to get 2 rigs out that I'm going to put on now, and then I'll go through my setup in a minute. Right, here are the 2 setups that I'm using today. I know I said I wouldn't get the gravity out with the Shimano Ultegra on it, but I have, only because it's a more sensitive tip for fishing for smaller species on the Sonic. And that reel, I know it's not got a lot of braid left on it, but the braid that's on it is quite fine, low diameter, and I'd rather be fishing with that, especially when I'm going for small species, and especially when there's a bit of weed around. I want to minimise the chance of catching any weed on my line, so the smaller the line, the smaller diameter, the better. So that's the Sonic Gravity there. As always, it's got the Synetic Skyline 32 kilo leader on it. And then I have got on this a Sheppey rig. I'm just going to bait up in a minute, and I've got a 150 gripper, so I'm going to put this out about 60 yards, and then let's go around again to the other side where I've got the Vega Potenza. That's on a Shimano Ultegra 5500. Just balances it out a little bit better. The smaller reel on that, it's a smaller rod, 14 foot, and then again I've got the Synetic Skyline 32 kilo casting leader on that, and that's going down to a loop rig. So I've got a loop rig here, and I've put a pyramid lead on that, and I'm going to put that about 30 yards because I would have thought there may be some flounders or flatfish around out there. So I'm going to get them out now. What I have done with the rigs that I've just built is I've done them in fluorocarbon. I've bitten the bullet. Aaron, good friend of mine, gone fishing with the Bearded Armenian. He always does it in fluorocarbon, and he's right, it's so much better. Check his video out, look, it's up there, the link to his video on fluorocarbons and all the ones that he's got for sale. It's just a superior rig built out of fluorocarbon. I could straighten the line. It does cost more, but I shouldn't be so stingy, should I? Anyway, let's get these baited up and let's get some baits in the water. Right, just ripped out all the frozen blacks out of this wrap that were left. I'm going to thread as many as I can on this needle. It's going to be a bit of a messy affair, this. So on the loop rig, I've just baited up with the same frozen lug, and I've tipped this with squid. So I'm going to get that out as well now. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Right, so both rods are cast out, they're both in there. And I'm just hoping with the rough weather we've had yesterday, and it's still quite blowy today and choppy, I'm hoping that it's brought in a few fish on the feed. Let's hope there might even be some schoolies about, flounder, so we'll wait and see. Right, I'm going to check this. This is the Sonic. Oh, there's weed on it. Oh, there's weed on them both. Right, let's just check this Vega. That's got weed on it as well. Oh, it's got a massive clump of weed on it. Lovely. Come on. There it comes. Clump of weed. Oh, is that a bite? Wow, that's a disaster. Now there we have a disaster, look at that. Very rarely happens. It very rarely happens, but it has this time. The imp hasn't engaged and released the hooks. So I was basically fishing with an unclipped rig. So that's going nowhere. That really isn't doing a thing. So I'm going to get that back out and hopefully this is, opens up this time. So very frustrating when that happens, when the imp doesn't release your bait. It does happen very rarely, but it is still annoying. I've been sitting there for 15 minutes fishing with not a chance of catching a fish on that rig. So hopefully it's disengaged this time, and now I've got 2 rods fully fishing for something that's out there. But there's nothing at the moment. Fingers crossed. Right, we've got a bite on the big rod, on the Sonic. We had one big knock round. Let's see if it goes again. Come on. Come on. Have a look. I've had some rattles on this, so there's a possibility of something little on. Let's have a look. Well, there's a bit of pull on that, so there's either weed or there's a fish on this, so let's have a look. Have a look. Now the weed does seem to have cleared, so there could be a fish on here. I could have something. Let's have a look. Have we got a fish? I think we have got a fish. There we go. Right. Nice size whiting. There we go, lovely. That can go for my tea. Right, so second cast on the Sheppey rig, and I've just had this whiting. It's a nice size, so it's well over legal. So I'm going to keep that. That's going to go in for my tea, get baited up and get back out, see if there's a few more about. Just been tightening the line on this and put a bite on that, so let's get tight on that, see if there's anything on it. What is with my luck? I've just been online looking through different fishing pages and things, and just seen that yesterday someone had a nice haul of flounder and school bass from here. And I've had one whiting today. The luck is just not with me on the North Kent coast, and looks like I'm late to the party. Still time yet. I don't think it's high tide yet. I think we're about 20 minutes short of high. So fish it down a couple of hours and see what happens. dilemma. Can I be bothered to carry on? There's nothing happening, really isn't. And I am so over frozen lug. Never liked it. And I've come here to use up the frozen lug that I had, and it's crap. It's not a good bait. So I'm going to throw the frozen lug away. I've got one rod in at the moment and one rod out. The Sonic is in. I don't think I'm going to put it back out, and I might just leave the other one, see what happens. Bit annoyed that I see online that they were catching good fish here, because you should never chase someone else's catch. Turn up the day after, it's a completely different day, and the fish that were there yesterday are not going to be here today, probably because they're in someone's freezer. But I think the next session I'm going to go Herne Bay of an evening and try and get some rays. They should be coming in numbers now, so then we do that. But I'll leave this last rod out, see what happens. Right, so we've got one rod left out there. I'm going to bring it in. The decision is, if there is a fish on the end, I will have another cast. If there isn't, I'm done with fishing the North Kent coast with frozen lug, because I'm just having really poor sessions. So let's see. Well, there's a bit of weight on it, but I think it's probably a bit of weed. It's probably weed. I can't feel any kicking or anything, so here it comes. Here it comes. Nothing. Weed. That is me. Right, I'm all packed up. Does look like there's rain coming in, and it looks like it won't be far behind me leaving, because it's getting quite dark over there towards Sheppey. Right, frozen lug are going in the bin now. I've had enough of them. Next time I'm going to dig some fresh and hope for something a bit better. Anyway, my lines, nearly forgot.